Hey everyone, I wanted to talk a moment to respond to a conversation that's been going around on TikTok, particularly about why some men don't like celebrating their birthdays. Before I do, I don't want any hate going toward the original content's creator. I am going to tag her, but I don't want people to go find this woman and attack her or shame her for her posts. She asked a valid question in a sincere way and has already had many comments that she feels are attacking or shaming her. That's not the goal of this video. I want to help both sides to understand why the communication over this topic has completely broken down. Before I start, I also want to mention that I'm reading from a script. I recently had surgery, and while the pain was mild last night and earlier today, it ramped up significantly in the past several hours, and I had to take medication. So if I sound a little off or slower than usual, that's why. One last thing before I dive in is I have a unique perspective on this topic. As the primary caregiver of our children and the home, I've had a small peek into some of the social behaviors of women while still coming from a male perspective. This has given me an interesting vantage point in conversations like this. So let's get into it. The first video I saw from this creator was about why men, specifically her husband, don't want to celebrate their birthdays. She put it out there to the world, and she wasn't happy with the comments she got. Some of them may have called her out as narcissistic, but I don't think that's what most of the men meant. There's more going on here than either side of the conversation may realize. And it comes back to how our patriarchal society teaches men to think about women, men to think about men, women to think about women, and women to think about men. That's a lot, I know. There are some damaging ideas at play here for everyone involved. The most common reason men gave for not wanting to celebrate their birthdays is that celebrating your birthday means celebrating yourself simply for existing. And as men, we've been taught that our value lies in what we can provide, what we earn, and what we achieve. Yes, men hold a lot of power because of the patriarchal society, but there are also a lot of damaging ideas that come with it. We are also taught that women and children in particular have value simply for existing, and we hear this all the time in old school ideas. When a ship is going down, it's always women and children first, while men go down with the ship. Obviously, there are lots of exceptions to every rule, but the core belief remains. So, for a man celebrating his birthday, it feels narcissistic because it feels like giving himself value simply for existing. Now, some of the things mentioned in the first video, like multiple birthday dinners, birthday weeks, or even birthday months, may have triggered some men to react negatively. If we're coming from a perspective where we don't celebrate our own birthdays at all because we've been taught it's self-indulgent, and then we see someone going all out for their birthday, we might say that's narcissistic. But most men aren't actually calling you narcissistic. They're saying that if they acted that way, they would feel narcissistic. Most men actually enjoy celebrating their wives and children just for existing. I love so much giving gifts to my wife on her birthday and at Christmas. I love celebrating my family, but I don't like celebrating my own birthday. And it's largely because of these subconscious lessons I've internalized about when and how I deserve celebration. This dynamic is damaging to both men and women. It warps our expectations of each other and of ourselves. It can also contribute to objectification. If I see another person as having value simply for existing, it becomes really easy to objectify them. This plays a role in the way some men objectify women and in the way some women internalize their value based on appearance or external validation. It also plays into relationship dynamics. Many women are taught to have a list of what they want in a partner. Men, however, are taught how to treat a partner. Some men eventually resent this imbalance, which can lead to negative behaviors, including objectification, like I said, withdrawal, or even emotional abuse. And sometimes these behaviors are reactions to abuse that men have themselves experienced. There are layers upon layers of psychological factors at play here. At the core of this issue is communication. Men and women aren't always understanding each other's perspectives. A man may not recognize that a woman has been told her entire life that she has value simply for existing, And a woman may not recognize that a man has been taught his value only comes from what he provides. Couples who learn to recognize these differences and talk through them without accusations, shame, or blame tend to work through these issues successfully. They learn how to unlearn some of what society has taught them about themselves. Some of the frustration in this original conversation comes from an underlying sense of shame. When men say they don't want to celebrate their birthdays, they're not rejecting love from their families. They're rejecting a feeling that's been ingrained in them that they shouldn't celebrate something they didn't earn. And when they say that's narcissistic, they aren't necessarily calling you a narcissist. They're reacting to their own discomfort. I hope this helps both sides see why this conversation has gotten so heated. It's not just about birthdays. It's about deeply rooted ideas of self-worth, celebration, and value. If we can approach this conversation with more understanding and less defensiveness, we can start to bridge that gap. You're welcome to comment here, but please be respectful of each other. I will delete and block anyone engaging in hateful speech. Thank you for listening. I hope this helps.